It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, hired by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with a wonderful lady who was born and raised in Riga, Latvia, now in Toronto, Canada. She's a former figure skater, now a singer and actress. She's got an upcoming single that's coming out and also an upcoming movie. She keeps herself very, very, very busy during these times, and she was in the Petrichor, Unmasking, Artificial Selection, and she also had an album out which got some really good reviews called Behind Closed Doors. We'll play one of the tracks later on as well, too. That was in 2014. And she also did a little bit of comedy as well, too. Maybe she can do a comedy sketch. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from beautiful Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and from Russia with Love, the very, very multi-talented Olga Korsak. Olga, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. That was quite an intro. I love it. I really enjoyed it. That probably was the best intro I've heard.
Well, that's greatly appreciated. And we'd love to hear more about what you got. And you're a one-time former figure skater, and now you're a singer and actress, and also looking to get into comedy. And you were born in Latvia, and now you're in Toronto, and you've got you had an album that came out in 2014, and you also had some singles out as well, too. And you also had a couple of movies in the works, and you've got one coming up in 2020. And before we get into all that, tell us how you got started.
All started?
Yes.
You mean the acting and singer world?
Well, actually, start off with you being in Latvia, working away as a figure skater, then becoming a singer.
From very beginning.
Very beginning.
So, I was a figure skater back home in Latvia. All started when I was 5 years old. My brother, he was a hockey player, and I remember I was crying and telling my parents that they love him more than me because he got the skates and I didn't. So there was the whole drama in my childhood. And my parents gave me skates, my first pair of skates when I was 5 at Christmas. And I remember it vividly how they brought me to the skating rink for my first practice, and everybody was laughing at me and pointing the finger because I was a very, very tall kid. And usually figure skaters, they start from the age of 2 or 3, so they were already super confident on the ice, skating around, and I was just like holding to the boards, and I was really, really scared. And I remember how they were laughing at me. In that moment, I decided I really, really want to skate. I don't think I wanted to skate just because I loved being on the ice, but I wanted to prove those kids who were pointing finger at me. And that's how it started. I told my parents I will go on the ring together with my brother. I was looking up to him. And that's how it all started. And I won my first gold medal at the age of 12 at the national championship. And it's kind of became a dream. It became an obsession. I was fully in love with figure skating. It was school, then there was ice, school, ice, I remember we had a practice like 7 in the morning, and I would go to school, and then I would come back on the ice for the rest of the day. And obviously, my dream was to get medals at the big level competition, like European Championship or World Championship. And my first European Championship was when I was 16. I placed 23rd, and I was really, really excited because I got in the top 30, and it was my first big competition, so it was really exciting for me. And the same year, I did the Worlds. I got also in top 30. And the next year, unfortunately, during the World Championship, I collided with another skater during the warm-up, during the 6-minute warm-up, and she broke her arm, but I broke 2 discs between my spine.
Ouch!
They cracked, yeah. So it wasn't a fun time for me. And when I came back home, I had to spend 7 months in the hospital, and doctors told me that I can come back on the ice if I want, but it's really risky because if something would go off, I would probably have a chance to be paralyzed. So I got super, super scared, and I remember I tried to go back on the ice, but it was completely different because like I was too much in my head, constantly thinking about my injury and thinking that my parents were really nervous, that they were kind of thinking that I have a life ahead, and I thought, okay, my life is done as soon as my skating is done.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to stop, and I remember I was super lost. I was 17. I didn't have many friends because all my friends were skaters, and I spent most of my time on a skating rink. And that was the first time when I was like, okay, what's next? What's going to be next for me? I was really interested in music in the early age. I played piano, and I wrote different melodies, and my dream was to write music for one of my programs, and I was working on it. And I thought maybe by the age I'm 18, I can finally write a tune I can skate to. So I spent a lot of time with my piano as well. So that was kind of the only thing what kind of kept me sane is my piano. I started playing again and started spending more time with it. And I remember I gained so much weight. It was interesting time of my life, being lost at such a young age. But somehow I had an amazing mom. I have an amazing mom who was really supporting me and talking to me and trying to figure out what to do next. And she knew how determined I am. And I think being in sport teaches you to be super determined, super goal-oriented, and you kind of like wake up every day with this goal and you see this goal in front of you. So when that been taken away from me, it was really hard to adjust to the life where you kind of don't have anything to look for and to work hard for. So when I was 16, before my injury, I went to Canada for the summer camp, skating summer camp. A couple of skaters went to Canada from Europe, and a couple of Canadian skaters went to Europe. And I really, really liked Canada, and I liked people. And I didn't speak English back then, but I really loved it, the sound of it. And I thought, oh my God, I really want to skate for Canada. I really want to work with Canadian coaches. They're so nice because Russian coaches are really strict and it's completely different method. And I was like, wow, nobody is lashing out on you. Everybody's so nice and polite. I was remember first time visit Canada, I was just mesmerized. And I applied for documents to move to Canada when I was 16, and I got them when I was 20. And I remember I was already studying in university. I was getting a degree in kinesiology, and kind of my life started somehow get into normal young girl life, I would say, with friends in university and having a boyfriend and kind of have my own hobbies and interests. And then I got papers when I was 20, and I had 90 days to enter the country to get my PR. And I told my mom, no, I'm probably not going to go. I have life here already figured out. But I couldn't sleep because I'm the kind of person, I believe that whatever happens for the reason. And I couldn't sleep. I was like, what if my destiny is somewhere else? What if? And when I sit down again to talk with my mom about it, she told me, Olga, like, if you would go, what do you want to do? And I said, like, all my life when I was skating, I thought that in my next life, I'm definitely going to be an actress or a singer. And I love music, and I went to theater school when I was younger. So I felt like I definitely would choose a different path for me. But now it's kind of too late. I'm 20. And my mom laughed at me. She's like, you don't understand. You're only 20. And you have an opportunity to go and learn English and be in a country you really liked and pursue the dream. Is like I see that you belong to a dream. You're the kind of person, you need a goal, you need a dream, you have so much drive, and I see that you're wasting your life, basically. So she kind of encouraged me to get that one-way plane ticket, and I end up in Canada exactly 11 years ago.
Wow.
So that's the kind of short version.
That is a heck that's a heck of a story. I have to say that. And getting back to figure skating for just a little bit, and how far are we away from possibly qualifying for the Olympics? I mean, you won some silvers and golds in your country, and also in Canada and a few other places as well too. And how close were you, being considered for being in the Olympics?
I actually qualified for Olympics for Turin, but I never had a chance to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be kind of my biggest disappointment in my life, because every athlete's goal is to go to Olympics.
Now, was this before or after the injury?
That was before the injury. I got injured the next year. I got qualified, but I started to have back problems already earlier in my career, so it wasn't kind of the first. There wasn't. I would say the accident was really closely tied to my injury before. I started having spine problems when I was 14, and I had to wear a brace, and they couldn't figure out for the longest time what I have, and doctors were saying that I just have a very weak back, and my back is not suitable for such a harsh impact on the ice for the jumps I was doing. So I was doing a lot of physio on my back. And it got better, but when I qualified for Turin Winter Olympics Games, I had, again, that was probably the worst season for me. I just came back from European Championship, and my back was literally killing me. I had to take some time off. So we made a decision to try to properly recover and have a good season the next year. And I thought, okay, there is 2010 Olympic Games, so I still have lots of time, so it's not a big deal. But if I had, this is one thing I a little bit regret about, if I had a chance to rethink that decision and to go back, and if I knew that my career going to end in the next year, I would probably risk it, and I would probably risk my injury, and I would go, because that was my kind of like biggest hope. That's what I was dreaming about.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit hard to watch it on TV, knowing that I could have been there, but at that time, my team and my coaches were made the decision to skip the rest of the season to properly recover and to have a better chance for successful performances years ahead. But unfortunately, it ended unexpectedly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're very sorry to hear that, but you got a really good career ahead of you. And before we get into your singing career, who are some of your favorite figure skaters growing up?
Oh, definitely, I would say Tara Lipinski and Michelle Kwan. I remember when I was super young, I was sitting in front of a TV, watching Nagano Olympic Games where Tara Lipinski got the gold. And she was so young and she was so smiley after every single jump. Till today, I remember every single step of her program. I think I watched it like 100 times. And Michelle Kwan, she has such a beautiful grace. And I don't know, I don't remember if I have any skater till today I could say skated with the same grace as Michelle Kwan. So those were definitely my top two skaters of all time. And I remember when I watched the Nagano Olympic Games, we still had those old, how it's called, cassettes, you know, when you put in a DVD player.
Mm-hmm.
And I would record the performances. And I rewatched so many times Tara Lipinski performance that the cassette broke.
Ooh.
Like actually, I don't know, something happened to the film inside of it. So, and I remember asking my dad to fix it, and he couldn't. So it's just such a vivid memory of mine, recording all those performances from Olympic Games and on the cassettes and rewatching. Kind of, I would say I didn't know what manifestation meant at that time, but I think I was manifesting and thinking that one day I'm going to be on the Olympic ice. And I don't think I cared about the medal. I just like so wanted to see the Olympic flag and skate for my country. It's such an honor. This is the only, I guess, regret I had in my sport career. I wish I had a chance to say that I'm Olympian skater.
Mm-hmm. And also, we'll talk about the movie that involves you and being, figure skating. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with former figure skater, now actress, singer, and comedian Olga Korsak here on the Mike Wagner Show from Riga, Latvia, now based in Toronto, Canada. And you went from figure skating and you did some singing and acting. And there's also a movie out called The Petrichor, which is set to be released in 2020, along with a couple of Russian figure skaters. And they're featured in the World Olympics as well, too. And tell us more about the movie The Petrichor.
Sure, gladly. I guess I would have to go and tell you the story of a little bit of how all this started to give you a bigger picture, how incredible sometimes coincidence in life is. Mm-hmm. Coincidences in life are. When I just started acting, I came to Canada 11 years ago. I started taking classes, learning English, taking dialect classes. And one of my first auditions was for the skating movie. I heard the casting for the skating movie. I knew I'm not ready for it. I just started. I didn't have the confidence, nor I had the good English at that time. But I went, and I met with the director and read for the part. It was my second year in Canada. I just arrived, basically. And she told me that I'm not good of an actress, and it was I guess first acting kind of like traumatic experience. I think every actor has that when they've been told that they're not good enough or they shouldn't try. But that didn't discourage me. I knew that I'm green and I need to work harder, and it's a new country. It's completely different for me. But it was a good push because I'm the kind of person, even like going back to skating and having that picture of me stepping on the ice when I was 5 years old and have kids laughing at me. I always wanted my whole life to prove something, to prove to myself, to others. That was my kind of like motivation. So I remember leaving that audition room and thinking, oh, you think I'm not good enough? Okay, one day we shall meet again. And I continued taking classes, got an acting agency, started working on my music, got a label deal. So I was really busy and I had a goal. And I think for the second time in my life, I felt like myself, having a goal, having something to work for, and have a goal to wake up, something for. And I realized that I did a great decision. And I completely forgot about this movie. And then I kept in touch with one of the producers of this picture, and she told me that they never shot the movie because they had some difficulties and they were missing some budget. And all of a sudden, my agent tells me that there is an audition and they're auditioning for a figure skater. And it was kind of like deja vu. I'm like, what? I'm like, that's already happened to me about 8 years ago. And I went to audition, and they were auditioning for the same part, but 8 years later. And I met the director again, and I end up booking the role for this movie, playing the figure skater, former figure skater, who, despite all her failures, discovers the strength in her to come back on the ice and pursue her goals. It was really interesting from the perspective that I was a figure skater and never had a proper closure in my career. I never had a chance to properly say goodbye, because when I came back from Worlds, I went straight to the hospital, and then I tried again a little bit on the ice, and it didn't work, and there was so much frustration and sadness and weight of unfulfilled dreams that I never had a proper closure with my career. And when I booked that role, I knew it's going to be really tough because I had to revisit all my memories. Plus, I decided that I'm going to do all the tricks myself. We've been working with choreographers and coaches for 8 months to get me ready for the skating parts of this movie. And despite me thinking that it would be really, really hard to get ready for this, it actually was super fulfilling in a way that I could properly, I guess, like let it go. This program I skated in the movie, it kind of felt like I did my last program. It's like you always want to know that this is your last performance in a way, so you have a proper, again, closure with your career. It's like, I guess it's like relationship. And yeah, it was interesting that I had auditioned for this part 8 years ago, and I've been told that I should not act, and then I get a chance to re-audition and get the role, and not only get the role, but get the role of my dreams, and do what I actually did for 15 years and use this knowledge. In a sense, I felt without the movie that I'm playing myself. It's very, very interesting. Every time I think about it, I'm very surprised how coincidental, like, all the events leading to this role happened.
It sounds amazing as well, too. I was going to ask you as well, too, like with some of the scenes that you had to recreate, if that brought like any trauma or PTSD or anything like that. But then you managed to overcome and just, like you said, but pretty much put a closure to your career when you ended, with your character winning the competition in the movie.
Yes, I felt like, it was an amazing opportunity to finally say goodbye, but in a very healthy and very fulfilled way. I knew that at that moment that the skating world, all the memories with it, it's all in the past. And now and look something forward. But I don't need to look back and regret about the things with my sport career. So it was definitely a blessing in disguise to book this role, because in a sense, it didn't bring any PTSD or bad memories. Instead, it just healed me in a very, very healthy way. And I myself was super surprised about it. I never thought that that's how it would go.
Mm-hmm. And that's fantastic, too. You also been in a couple other movies like Unmasking and Artificial Selection. And tell us about those two films.
Unmasking was very close to my heart project. I co-wrote this movie with a friend of mine, Canadian director Rob Como. We were just sitting in the living room one day several years ago, and we were talking about mental health, and he's a very big advocate on mental health. And we were talking how hard sometimes it is to open up or to tell someone. We talked about my career and how sometimes I have the memories of it, and it's hard on a daily basis for me to open up to people and say what I actually feel. And I brought up saying that it's almost like I'm wearing the mask I really want to take off. And then I saw right away there was a light bulb in his eyes, and he said, why don't we write a movie about it? So we spent some time writing it. He took responsibility of writing it, and we worked on some little parts, and then we spent some time to find a right actor for this part. This movie was very, very emotional in the sense that I think in the movie I had to open up a little bit and encourage other people who go into the tough time to kind of take off the mask. And we actually used the real mask. We had to make a silicone mask of my face, and half of the movie I'm spending in that mask with a heavy breathing on the back. It's really emotional. And I have so many memories about it because originally my boyfriend in the movie, who I will end up opening up to, supposed to play my and Rob's friend, who just a couple of weeks before we cast him and before he read the script and he loved it, he got diagnosed with a tumor, with a brain tumor. And by the time we finished shooting this movie, he unfortunately passed away. And it was very emotional for both of us, and we kind of, in our thoughts, and dedicated this movie to him. And we saw his battle with the cancer, and it was really hard for us. So this movie played a very big part in our lives and in the acting community in Toronto. It was a hard movie to shoot and hard movie to work on. In the movie Artificial Selection, it was the movie I did, I think, 5 years ago. It should premiere on Netflix sometime soon. I don't know when exactly, because of all the pandemic situation. Not going to reveal the story about it, so people can check it out later online and see for themselves, because I don't think even I can tell the story and give it away. No, so I'm gonna be hush about it.
That's
Not
fine.
To get in trouble.
No, that's fine. As soon as it comes out, we'd love to have you back on and talk more about it. You also have another project coming up in later 2020 called Nuri Safety City. You can just give us a brief story about it.
Safety City was supposed to actually depart to Korea a couple of weeks ago to shoot it, but due to the situation, everything being postponed and canceled, that we don't know when we're going to restart. I spent 8 months taking martial art lessons and working with the fitness coaches, because I'm playing sort of a badass character with some sick martial arts skills. So I went through a serious training for this one as well. And now we're kind of waiting to see what's happening because we're supposed to shoot in Korea. Then we're supposed to go to LA and come back, shoot other parts in Toronto. But for now, we don't know until when everything is postponed at this point.
Okay. And do us a favor, keep us up to date on situation. We'll play one of your songs tied to the movie The Petrichor. But first, listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, Apple, and more. Take The Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow The Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here with former figure skater, now actress, singer Olga Korsak here on The Mike Wagner Show, talking about a couple of her movies and the one that's coming out right now, The Petrichor. Talk about a figure skater trying to live out a dream. It's almost like her life story and wrapping up, and also talking about a couple of movies that are in the works. But right now, here's one of the songs from the movie The Petrichor. She goes by the name of LIVVA. Here's Olga Korsak, best known as LIVVA, with Isn't It Funny from Behind Closed Doors, right here on The Mike Wagner Show.
I don't wanna fall asleep tonight. You're by my side, don't wanna miss a single touch. You've been mine only a couple of days. Now I want your arms around me every single day. Would you stay here or would you let go? Maybe it's time, I'll let you know. I have the tendency to let things go, and I will always find a reason. Isn't it funny that I keep running away from the good things coming my way, but I just wanna stay? Is it ironic that I keep wanting only you, but every time you come around, I back down, I back down. I know it looks like I know what I want, but my confidence is just a mask. I should have taken it off by now. I know I fucked up way too many times, but every time we get too close I freak out. I just need to breathe out. Would you stay here or would you let go? Maybe it's time, I'll let you know. I have the tendency to let things go, and I will always find a reason. Isn't it funny that I keep running away from the good things coming my way, but I just wanna stay? Is it ironic that I keep wanting only you, but every time you come around, I back down, I back down. I don't know where to stop, I don't know where to start. Maybe I'm just messed up, messed up, messed up. So fed up to be leaving, but can't control how I'm feeling. You don't want to believe me. I'm messed up, messed up, messed up, messed up. Isn't it funny that I keep running?
Okay, we have some technical difficulties here on the Mike Wagner Show. We apologize, but that's the song Isn't It Funny from The Petrichor here on the Mike Wagner Show. And tell us more about that song, Isn't It Funny, and what inspired you to write the song?
Well, I have this thing, and I think a lot of people can relate. Sometimes I push good things from my life, and I don't know why I'm doing it. it's kind of, I don't know, part of being a human, I guess. We self-sabotage ourselves sometimes, and we don't know even why. We definitely wish for the best for us, and we want the best for ourselves. But sometimes there's like an error happens, I guess. And I find sometimes I would miss important auditions, calls, or I would completely mess up my relationship, and I don't know even why I'm doing this. So that's what inspired me to write this song about how sometimes without our own knowledge we push things, good things from our life.
And of course, looking forward to more music as well too. You also have an album all behind closed doors, which came out in is it 2014 if I'm correct? Can you tell us more about that album?
This album was my debut album. I work with some producers from London, UK, and some producers from Latvia as well. The album did itself really good. It sold more than 10,000 copies in Canada.
Nice.
And we did it independently, so I was really proud of it. Now when I look back, it's really hard for me to listen to those songs because I'm so self-critical, and I hear my very harsh accent, and I was thinking what I was thinking about this note or this, and why did I write this? So I guess a lot of creative people always look at their work, and I know even a lot of actors, they never watch their own movies. They just can't. So I have exactly the same thing. So I'm trying to be proud of it. This is kind of my thing. It's my goal for 2020, like kind of my new resolution, to be proud of my past work and stop judging myself. I'm happy how it turned out without any support of any major labels, and we did everything ourselves from the cover to the whole 12 tunes of it. And I guess I am proud of it.
It's amazing. It sounds like it.
Yeah. But it takes time, you know. I don't know. I guess some people who would listen also can relate. It's just so hard sometimes to stop being so self-critical and judgmental. That's why I always stay away from listening to my old songs. Even the songs that I wrote 6 months ago, I listen to them and I'm like, really? So I guess I need to work on that.
But of course, a lot of people are really get into the music. They download, they purchase, and all the streams. He also had some other singles: Minus, ×2, YOU in capital letters, and Why Do You Want Me So Much, released at the end of 2018. And tell us more about those singles.
Those singles are collaboration between me and my producer, Jovan Jovanov. It was a very interesting friendship and work relationship we established. It was approximately 3 years ago when I met a producer, Tina Cole. She's one of an amazing independent producers here in Ontario, and I had a pleasure meeting her. And I was working with a different producer at the time, and show her some songs and get an advice of like where should I go, which direction. And she told me, like, you know what, I have this producer. He is from Europe as well, like you. She's like, I don't know why. I think it's going to be a good match. So, because I felt that something was missing from my songs, and I didn't know what exactly was missing. And probably the previous people I was working with, it probably wasn't the best match, not because something was wrong, but it's just like energetically we didn't connect the way we connect right now with my producer. So she brought me to his studio, and I showed him some of my ideas, and he picked up some songs, and we just started working on them. And we decided to release one song at a time and see how it goes. And now it's kind of blessing for both of us being in a lockdown, because I'm in the studio right now almost every second day, and we work on so many new songs, and we're probably gonna release another EP later this year. And my followers are really, really happy about this, because I finally have time to actually work on some music, because if not for the quarantine, I would probably be in Korea right now shooting, and then we would shoot in Canada, and then we had a scheduling going for some festivals to promote Petrichor. So basically my schedule was all planned out until almost September. So now I have some quiet time, and even after I will stop talking to you, I'm gonna go and write. So I'm I'm excited, because I honestly, like, for the past year, I really, really wanted to sit down for a couple of months and just write. I had such a crazy passion for writing, and there were so many ideas, and there's so many people I wanted to collaborate, and now we're working with some producers from Brazil and from Madrid, and I never had time to work with them, because by the time I write something and send them for the feedback, they're super busy. They reply to me in like 3 weeks, and then I already don't like the melody I wrote. I had to rewrite again, and my producer wasn't available to record the vocals, because we had other songs planned out, and we had to write the music for the Petrichor as well. The main soundtrack from Petrichor is also mine and my producer written song. So it was like so hectic, and when all of this happened with the coronavirus, which is so unfortunate, because so many people are losing their lives, and the economic situation is probably not the best. Mm-hmm. But it's, for me, it's kind of like blessing in disguise, because I will have a quiet time right now, like just write, and it's really therapeutical. I find it.
It's nice you got your plans coming up in 2020 as well, too. You got them well laid out and everything else. And there's a couple more things here. We're here with Olga Korsak, our best known as singer LIVVA here on the Mike Wagner Show, former figure skater, now actress and singer, born in Latvia, now in Toronto. Would like to have her back on again sometime soon. In just a few minutes here, Olga. Who are your favorite artists and singers and actors growing up?
Oh, I have such a long list. I'm a huge fan of jazz music. And to be honest, I don't know how that happened, because I never had an access growing up back in Russia to the jazz music. But somehow later in life, I started listening to Nina Simone, Ray Charles, Ella Fitzgerald, and I don't know how that happened. And later on, I was a big fan of Amy Winehouse. It didn't influence my music, because I'm more of a pop artist. And then later on, I would really love the new pop artists like Love and Lennon Stella, which is also a Canadian artist. And I'm also a very huge fan of electronic music. I am crazy about a lot of German producers and DJs like Ben Brochmer or Christian Loeffler, Jen Blanquist. I'm just in love with electronic tunes, and I'm actually working on a couple of electronic singles right now with electronic music producers from Europe at the moment as well. So, somehow happened that I got really hooked in different genres, and they're so different. But depending on my mood, sometimes I wake up and I really want to listen to classical music. So it's very interesting. I have such a I guess messy personality that it's always a different mood, a different tune, I would say.
Mm-hmm. You talked about being influenced by jazz, and any plans for an upcoming jazz album or anything tied to jazz down the road?
I don't think so, because my first album, Behind Closed Doors, was tiny bit influenced by jazz and artists like Fiona Apple. So it was like a little bit mix of jazz and indie music. So, but somehow we completely went different direction with a producer, and we end up in experimenting in different direction of a pop music. So I don't think so. But later in life, if I would have an opportunity and time, I would definitely want to work on some jazz tunes. But for now, I would leave that to people who actually best suited for this. And I will stick to my pop world.
and of course, it sounds like you're doing really well with movies and merging everything all together and tying into one. And of course, you did really well with the Petrichor, which is coming up. You talk about it so well. And who are your favorite actors and actresses growing up, and what are some of your favorite movies?
To be honest, one of my favorite actors who I grew up on his movies when I was younger, who actually played my dad in Petrichor. He's a very famous Russian actor, Alexei Serebryakov. And he played my dad in a movie, Petrichor. It's very interesting because when I got even the part and I knew that I'm playing alongside him, I was so excited. And I think my mom was also more excited that I have a chance to meet him. Not that I booked the lead role. She was more excited about it.
Oh my goodness!
So I think she's even excited to see the movie because he's in it. It's very funny. It's like our inside joke in our family because how excited, because he's like a Brad Pitt of Russia. So every single person knows who he is, and I had such a tremendous opportunity, amazing opportunity to learn from him in this 2 months of shooting Petrichor.
That is amazing. And I can imagine as well, too. It's like, Dad, oh, it's Alexei. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're not my dad. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was also super excited. He's also one of his favorite actors. So, yeah, he's always jokes around and saying, oh, my God, I want to see how he does me. And I'm like, Dad, he's like, he didn't play like you. So
don't create confusion, Dad. That's all I can tell you.
Yes. Yeah.
And of course, getting back to some of your movies as well too. It's just like, I mean, I never had this before. Your favorite actor playing one of your parents. I've never experienced that before with anybody.
Yeah, it's again, this movie is just a crazy kind of like, I would say like magical ball of coincidences and I don't know, it's just like so interesting in every possible way how everything came together, like with the skating, with the getting my first lead and having my favorite actor in it. So sometimes when I booked it, I couldn't even believe it. I would wake up in the morning and think, oh my God, is it really happening or is it just a dream? Because it totally felt like a dream. It didn't feel like it's a reality because it would be something you would write in a movie. And it happened with Petrichor. So that's why I think for the rest of my life it's going to be probably one of the most memorable experiences of my life purely because of all those crazy coincidences.
Mm-hmm. And of course, speaking of incidents as well, too, what do you consider your most funniest moment you ever experienced, either on film or in a studio or, say, on the skating rink?
Oh, I don't know, like, if it's funny, but it was funny for me coming on set one day and forgetting one of my skates. We had to get a runner, drive back home, and I don't know how that happened because I'm always so good at packing, and for me, going on set is such a miracle, and I'm super excited. So I always check my bags, and I don't know how that happened. And then we had to send a runner to go back and get the skate, and the skate was right in my living room.
Oh no!
Sitting there, and it was funny. We laughed a lot because it just the only thing I had to bring on set, and I forgot it. So there was so many funny moments, but it's just sometimes it's so inappropriate to tell them in an interview, and sometimes you just you forget because so much going on. But really interesting that we shot all the skating parts of the movie on a rink overnight. It was super cold, and I remember it was super, super foggy. And I just was in this tiny dress, and that was the only time when I was like, why am I doing this? This is so cold, and this is so hard. Because we practice on such a beautiful skating rink, but when we start shooting, we run into so many troubles with the permits and time. Every rink was busy with so many hockey teams and skating practices. That's why it was impossible to get the ice. And the only time we could shoot is overnight. It was so hard. And I remember shooting daytime, then nighttime, and not even realizing like which day and what time is it. And I also, when we were shooting the movie, I moved houses. I moved from one house to an apartment because the basement of this house was flooded.
Oh, no.
And I remember twice, not even once, twice, because I was so tired coming from set, from those overnight shootings, that I would drive back to my old house, and then I would not figure out why I can get in, and I would get all frustrated, and my key doesn't work, and I'm like, what's happening? I just want to sleep. And then I would realize that I came to an old house, and I don't have keys from it anymore, nor there is any furniture or anyone. So it's just like, and it happened twice, and the second time, I just didn't clue in that that's exactly what I did a couple of days before. And I remember sitting on a doorstep, and then my neighbor, was something like 7 a.m, would walk by, and she's like, Olga, like, what are you doing here? I'm like, my key doesn't work. I don't know what to do. And she's like, didn't you move out 3 weeks ago? Oh. And I'm like, oh, I did. Thank you so much. So just like waste an hour of my time. Thank God, like the houses are just like 10 minutes apart, but it just like, it's my brain was so shut off. I couldn't think about anything, that I was just like sitting on my doorstep and being like this lonely cat, scratching the door and being like, let me in, I just want to sleep from my night shift.
Wrong house here. Right church, wrong pew, they say.
Yeah, so it was.
Oh my goodness! I'm looking forward to speaking with you more about your next ventures as well too, and a couple of more things with Olga Korsak here on the Mike Wagner Show. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Repeat that. I'm sorry.
Biggest influence, yes, in your career.
In my acting or music?
It can be both.
It can be both. You want me to name names of the actors?
If you like, it's up to you.
Strangely enough, every time I have this question, I freeze, because, to be honest, I don't know. Like, a lot of actors know a distinct answer to this question, and they have a list of actors who really influence their work, and they've been watching and analyzing their acting. But for me, it wasn't the path, really. In a sense, like, I still watch a lot of movies. I'm constantly discovering new directors, and I watch international movies as well. And I watch all the new Hollywood movies, and I watch Russian and European, and I try to, during Toronto Film Festival, to watch a lot of movies. But I still haven't figured out how to answer this question, to be honest, because when I started acting, my biggest problem was dealing with overflowing of my emotions and how to control them in the right direction, and I didn't know what to do with them. And I had to work a lot with the acting coaches and with psychiatrists to figure out how to open up and have it real for me in my own way. So it wasn't like there was a light bulb when I watched a certain movie, or it wasn't like a director. Like, there's so many great movies, and even like every 3 months I have like a top 3 movies, which for me, the top 3 is the movies I watched several times, and I admire the acting, but I never kind of like see like that influencing my career. Mm-hmm. So yeah, very weird question. I think I need to do some homework on it to learn how to reply better.
And there'll be a quiz after this. So what's the next time we'll do that. So what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
The best advice I've got?
Yes, the best advice you can give to anybody at this point.
Don't compare yourself to anyone, because everybody has a unique path and everybody's so unique. And once you figure out that there's only you, there's only one copy of you, there's nobody else like you, it gives you a tremendous power to know that you're the only one. And I think I did a lot of mistakes in my career trying to compare myself to other actors and being ashamed of my accent and trying to hide who I am. And when you try to become somebody you're not, people can sense the fakeness. People can sense that you're not sincere. And it becomes boring. I think copying and being like somebody else or trying to be somebody else, it's boring. And once you embrace who you are, truly who you are, and being happy. Now I love my accent. I'm listening sometimes things I record, and I don't even want to smooth it out. Like when we go and we record with my vocal coach, she loves my accent, and she's like, Olga, like we're gonna smooth it out so people know exactly what he's saying, but we're gonna leave it because that's who you are. And it took me so many years actually to be comfortable with who I am. And once I did it, it's kind of my career took off in both directions. And I wish somebody told me that earlier, or I learned that earlier, that there's only one of me. Like I'm the only one like that. And that's what it's cool about me.
That does sound fantastic. You have a very unique personality, very unique, and we'd love to have you back on as well. Once again, Olga Korsak, best known as LIVVA the singer on the Mike Wagner Show, former figure skater, now actress and singer. We'll get to her comedy next time we talk as well, too. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects, what's your website, how do people contact you, and where can people purchase or listen to your music and your movies?
Well, definitely for music is Spotify. Go on Spotify. My stage name is LIVVA. It's LIVVA. Also, you can follow me on Instagram, LIVVA Music, LIVVA Music. You can drop me a message, say hi. I'm going to follow you back. We're going to become friends, and I will post all the information there about my upcoming movies and new releases, festivals I'm going. New music. Also, my music is available anywhere on all the platforms. It's Apple Music, iTunes, again, Spotify, SoundCloud. So whatever platform you're using, you can find me there. And in terms of the movies, again, if you follow me on Instagram, I will definitely announce there on my stories or posts when the movie is out or where you can see it. Unmasking, that's the only movie which is out already. You can find it in Vimeo, so you can also drop me a link on Instagram and I can send you the link to watch the Unmasking. Sounds
great. Olga, just want to say a big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date, and love to have you back on sometime later in 2020 and beyond.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It was lovely to chat with you.
Thanks for listening to the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.